The following is a fan-based discussion and is owned by Toei Inc. and Bandai. We claim no ownership to the shows we are discussing and is based on pure opinion.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tokucast, and some of you may be wondering something that's a little different. Why is Marcus in the middle?
Where am I?
Well, today we were doing another episode... Alright then. We're doing another episode of a show we haven't done in a while. It's another episode of Who Would Win. And this time, Marcus is going to be the judge.
Back by popular demand.
By nobody. It's my show, so that hurts my feelings. Anyway, no one gives a shit. Moving on. So...
Hey, at least your show didn't get canceled.
Fair enough.
We canceled my show.
Yes, we did.
There's a reason for that.
Yes,
sure.
Moving on. So, Judge, who are our combatants today?
Today, we have Kamen Rider OOOs and the first of the Heisei Riders, Kamen Rider Kuuga.
So before we get started, let us know your predictions in the comments. Love to see who was right. Now, do you have questions for us, or do you want us to start with some opening statements?
Let's start with some opening statements. Since you're doing the senpai in this one, you start.
Fantastic. Kamen Rider Kuuga. He started it all. He'll end it all. He has the strongest rider kick in history, and you bet your goddamn brains on me riding that horse. He has just enough forms. He's a good example of quality instead of quantity, which my opponent is guilty of. And even with those qualities, they get enhanced. And I think Kuuga will destroy this, as well as the entire world.
With the Kohai over here.
With the Kohai, yeah, Kohai is junior.
Oh, no, did not know that.
That's because no one ever says it. It's true. It's always Senpai notice me, not Kohai notice me.
I mean, who asked for that? Anyway, opening
there's a show about it somewhere, I'm sure. So Kamen Rider OOOs prides himself on versatility. He has the 21 core medals, and they each correspond to a different animal. One for the head, one for the torso, and one for the legs. And he can mix and match them all as he chooses. He has the three same colors. He can use to create combos from them. And it's all about versatility and overcoming odds through versatility and finding the right combination to fit the right situation. And while Kuuga is power, like pound for pound, he probably is the strongest one. Versatility and speed can overcome that and get him before he would have a chance to do that rider kick that would break the world. But you can't use it if you're beaten before it happens.
Well, before I really can't make a counter argument in an opening statement, so I'll have to be quiet on this. But do you have questions for us, Mr. Judge?
Yes, let's go ahead and get into these main forms, not these 7,001 combinations that you can have. I'm talking about main forms.
Okay. So combos for him?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll start off with standard forms, base forms. We have Kuuga Mighty, or in some cases, Amazing Mighty, which is an upgraded form of his Mighty form. It enhances his strength, his speed, the usual stuff. But with the Amazing Mighty form, the Rider Kick itself can destroy 3 city blocks, which was done, and he didn't want to do it again. Yes, you say that I have power, that you can beat me before, you can beat me up before I can use the Rider Kick, but when all of my Rider Kicks are that powerful, one's got to hit eventually. Because Kuuga doesn't go down either. He doesn't stop.
Now, you do have other forms.
Okay, so next is the Dragon form, his blue staff form, which allows him to turn anything he touches that is in the right shape to his weapon, which means you disarm him, I can get a new one. It makes him more agile and faster to combat your agility as well. So then I also have fighting from a distance, where most of your distance fighting is Tiger Claws and most melee combat. So I can have you at a distance. Then I have Pegasus form. Gives me my bowgun, enhanced senses, where I can hear you and see you miles away, so I can snipe you. And once again, you don't have any actual firearms in your arsenal. We're getting there. Because then I have Titan. And then I have Titan. Not
only is it the floor.
My fault, folks. Sorry.
Sabotaged already. You can feel him sweating. In my Titan form,
check if you're recording.
Not only do I get the sword, Titan is his defensive form. He can take an enormous amount of punishment as shown in the many episodes where he just shakes off the attacks. And each of those forms get upgraded to their Dragon Rising, Pegasus Rising, and Titan Rising effectively. And each form gets an upgrade. The bow can hit farther, he can hit farther. The dragon form, his staff becomes a double-edged spear. In Titan form, he can get a second sword, which the finisher of the sword is one of the most gruesome things ever. He not only stabs you with it, he twists it afterwards to make you explode. Or in some cases, he stabs you and just slowly drags it down your chest cavity, episode 37. Don't fuck with kids when Kuuga's in the room.
Now, those are your main forms.
Mm-hmm.
What about yours? Because you have...
And are we just talking about the 3 color combinations?
Yes.
Okay. Well, his base form is Tataba, which is hawk, a lion, or a tiger, and a grasshopper. You mentioned seeing farther. The hawk head gives him enhanced senses. It lets him see super far. It lets him hear better. The tiger gives him the claws. That gives him extended reach in melee combat. And with the grasshopper legs, he can jump really high. And again, versatility is his biggest strong suit. Now, moving on to his first, core form, upgraded form, is Gatakiriba, which is all the insects. In this form, he can generate electricity. He can copy himself an almost infinite number of times. Each one of them is just as powerful as any of the other ones. His power doesn't diminish, and they can each move independently of another one. Also, in this form, he can take out those metals, put in the other core metals, and he can operate with all of his ultimate forms at once. Yes, Rata, Lion, Tora, Cheetah. Now with this one, it doesn't matter how far you can see you if you blind you, because the Lion Head has the power to generate intense light that is capable of drying up rivers and blinding people, especially if they are vulnerable to light. He has the claws still, and he can also run incredibly fast. He also has the power to tame the lion motorcycle, which is the only form he can use that in. And it's basically a more powered-up form of his motorcycle.
Are we counting rider machines as weapons?
We'll do that in the second part.
Okay.
Because this is a sentient motorcycle that he can control and use to attack. Sai Gorilla Zo is almost unmovable in terms of how strong it is. It is slower, but it has raw power. It can use gravity to draw enemies in and then knock them back. He can beat his chest with the gorilla arms and cause out shockwaves. Headbutting you with the rhino head.
Shota.
Yes.
Shota.
He can breathe underwater. He has the electric eel whips that he can use for distance, and they're electric based. The taco legs allow him to stick to any surface, whether it's a wall, a ceiling, whatever. And they can also become octopus legs, and they can be used for multiple kicks. Tajador. He has a ranged weapon. He has the gun that he can use there. Mm-hmm. He can fill that with metals and use that to shoot greater distances and whatnot. He can fill it with any metal, not just the red ones. He can fly. He has so, it doesn't matter how strong your rider kick is if I can fly out of the way of it.
So, my counter argument to that,
yes.
All of your forms take time to swap. You have to take the metals out, put them in, scan.
Which he's fast at doing.
Which he is. But Kuuga can change his forms instantaneously. Because it's all in the one belt. And my example is in the same episode 37. In the time he went from, I think he was either dragon or base. He was riding his motorcycle, monster on the front of the motorcycle, and the time it took him to take quills out of the monster's shoulder and to try to stab Kuuga, he just went, Henshi! And he was in Titan form and the quills bounced off. Instantaneous transformations. I don't care how high you can fly. His ultimate, when we get to his ultimate forms, you can't fly into the stratosphere and breathe in space. His strongest rider kick destroys the world. But
if I'm swarming you, if I've clothed myself enough and I'm swarming you with attacks, you're not going to be able to concentrate long enough to do that.
Doesn't really take concentration just to say Henshi. But
no, to do your rider kick.
Fair enough.
If I shoot you out of the air, you're not going to be able to do it.
It also is not specified in whether or not he has to jump and do the flying rider kick. He can just stomp on the ground.
Have we ever seen him do it?
Have we ever seen... we've never really seen OOO's use his Taka Vision in show.
Yeah, we have.
When?
I don't know the numbered episode, but he's done it before.
If you can give me the situation, but I don't ever remember.
He was searching for someone, and it showed you the inside view of the helmet, and everything was red, and he was able to see great distances.
Fair enough. Now, my counter-argument to your blinding, the Pegasus form is also not only in terms of great vision, but great hearing. You can't blind the ears. He can hear you coming from miles away and shoot you. Yes, you have a gun. It is mainly a rapid-fire weapon, which loses accuracy the greater distances you are. I have a crossbow gun, which essentially is a sniper rifle in terms of a handgun form.
Yeah, but you can't hit what's moving too fast. Because if I have the cheetah legs on and I have the gun, I can just like circle strafe you.
Yeah, you can circle strafe me, but if I can see, because that blindness doesn't last forever. Number one, stay in Titan form.
If it lasts long enough, then I can just like circle around you like 100 times because that thing is really freaking fast.
Stay in Titan form, take the hits. When you're done, go to Pegasus form, lead you, get you.
There is one thing that you are forgetting. I'm not really helping, but this is a thing that actually does happen. He has a scatter shot, and you can shoot it straight up.
Very true. Sorry. It's been a very long time since I've last seen Kuuga. So he has a scatter shot. Yes, he doesn't have as many options as O's, but the options he does have cover a lot of ground.
Alright. So let's get into these rider machines.
My rider machine, there's not a lot to talk about. It's a dirt bike, but he, as shown in one episode where he fought a monster who was motorcycle-based, he has a lot of control over that. Yes, I may not be as fast as a chopper, but for once, I'm the versatile one here. A dirt bike, I can go into more tight spaces than you can. This is a trials bike, and he uses it as one.
My bike is a vending machine that turns into a big-ass bike. It would flatten a dirt bike instantly. If I managed to... Yeah, if
you manage to get to one. The thing is with Kuuga, the fact that he can sort of call...
And also with the sentient lion one, it can also jump.
I would also like to point out that your versatility with your metals, Edgy was never the one to pick the metals he uses. Somebody else told him what was the best situation for him. He was never the strategic mind in battle.
And in this situation, he would be.
Well, I'm just saying, in terms of what we've seen, he's not the greatest in terms of strategy. Kuuga, on the other hand, did have help, but once the battle started, he was on his own. All of his strategies were made by him. And he had to learn and master his abilities.
And by the end of the show, he was pretty much a master of it, too.
Now, let's talk about the final forms. We're going to do Putotira for you in his black form.
Putotira are the dinosaur metals. In this form, he can fly. He has the power to freeze pretty much anything. He has a weapon that can cut through solid concrete, basically just cleave metal in two. It has the bazooka, which is extremely long range and is extremely powerful. It is powered by metals, but he always has plenty on hand. He has a tail that can pretty much smash anything.
I have Kuuga Ultimate Form, which gives him the powers of all of his previous forms, allowing him to use any of the weapons, any of the abilities. Not only that, pyrokinesis, enhanced strength, his second strongest rider kick, which is enough to destroy the world he is on if he gets it off. Which again, it doesn't have to be a jump. He's never used it in show because he knows what he can do. He knows what he can do. So it's never been specified it has to be a jump kick, running kick, or if he can just stomp the ground and just say, well, we both lose. This form also has the risk where it can turn you into the monster of the show, where his eyes will go black, and so at that point, he doesn't give a shit how much he hurts you that anymore. This also has some of the greatest stamina in terms of forms, just because how long did he fight the final villain?
Basically all night.
Just punching each other. Taking every hit, never running out of energy, and that's not even his final form.
Yeah.
But someone had to say it.
Mine does something similar, but yeah, you got me beat on stamina because it does make him go crazy, similar to that one. It puts an enormous strain on his body.
All of your combos do. All of your combos put an enormous strain on Edgy's body. The first time he used Gatsukiriba, he passed out afterwards.
Yes, but that was the first time he used it, and he has adapted since.
I also think Gatsukiriba puts the most strain on his body because of the splitting himself.
Yeah, but because he is able to split himself, and because he is able to use all of his other combos with that splitting, that level of power and overwhelming could still overwhelm him.
I like I used overwhelm twice.
Yes.
It's true.
I'm just saying.
If they're all hitting you with a finisher at once, you're still going to get hit.
Now, these actual final forms. Rising Ultimate versus Super Tataba.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going first?
You go first.
Rising Ultimate, one of the most hideous things I've ever seen. I will have to say that.
Yeah, it's true.
King, thank you, Decade, for this monstrosity. Just imagine Ultimate, but on steroids, which you didn't think was possible because it was already kind of Kuuga on steroids, on steroids, on steroids.
It's a lot more gold.
Unfortunately. And this, he surpasses everything he's ever had, and most Heisei riders in power. He can the rider kick stronger, faster, more stamina. It's a very basic form, mainly because it was used as addition form from Decade. But the fact that it is more powerful than Ultimate essentially puts him on the tier of God.
Puts him on the tier of guy.
But that's all I can really say about Rising Ultimate, besides everything I've already said about Ultimate.
Mr. Super Tataba.
Well, it's literally that. It's Tatoba, but supered up. He can fly. He has a much more powerful rider kick. That's pretty much it.
He can fly in that? How?
Yeah, he gets wings.
But the wings come from the Kujaku metal.
Yeah, but he can still fly in this one.
I do love the arguments that both of you have brought to this table. Now, what I'm going to end up having to go on mostly on this one is stamina.
Damn it, by the way.
I
Sorry, picture. I just found a picture.
I was right.
I was looking for a counter argument, that's all.
No, I'm just glad I was right.
Were you sweating?
I mean, I've been since the start of this round. Okay.
Now, for base forms versus each other, with Pegasus form, that ends up being his ace in the hole against anything that you end up having. He can attack you from extremely far away. He attacked somebody from all the way across the city in midair and shot them and killed them. I'm going to end up having to give that one to Kuuga.
Point for me.
Now, for basically the other power-up form, with Putotera versus Amazing Mighty, once again it ends up coming down to turns of power. He can fly and he can create ice, which is really, really good.
Yep.
But Kuuga also has the 3-block rider kick.
That's just Amazing Mighty.
Yeah, and that's just Amazing Mighty by itself. If we end up going up to Ultimate, Power of Kinesis, and the World Breaking Kick. Now, as you said, we don't know exactly what he can do if he has to jump up, or he could just stomp the ground and, bye-bye. And if you end up freezing him, he could end up burning his way out of that pretty darn quickly. You're going to end up having to give that one to Kuuga. For the bike, I'm going to give that one to you, because I completely forgot about the lion head.
Yeah.
So did I.
I got one thing.
I forgot about that.
I'm happy. I got one thing.
I forgot about the lion bike, which, when you think about that, I forgot how cool that is.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that bike. Not gonna lie, but I do like the things that it can do, especially because it does give him some minimal flight capabilities. However, he does have Rising Ultimate, which is stronger than Ultimate.
Yeah.
And stamina is the biggest thing about this. I can defend that, especially with the super metals. They end up taking a lot out of Edgy really quickly. I mean, yes, he also does have super speed in that one, but this is basically just another tank form. It's
also that there's super speed and then there's enhanced speed. This is more like he's fast, but you can kind of see him. Not like
burst speed. It's like Infinity from Wizard.
Yeah, he never really uses it that long.
Yeah.
They used it as much as the budget could afford.
It's true. A.K.A. movie.
A.K.A.
And the Wizard.
And why you don't see Gatakuriba very often.
Once. In, the movie.
It was in the show.
Yeah. Going to end up having to give it to Kuuga on this one. Just overall. Pure power. Pure destructive power.
Yeah.
And defensiveness.
And defensive and stamina. All night fighting that guy on the top of this mountain in the
It doesn't help that I
cold.
lost my ability to talk through most of this episode.
It also doesn't help that I'm familiar with both and you're not really familiar
I'm
with
not
Kuuga.
familiar with Kuuga at all.
You did forget a form.
Oh yeah, Buruko Wani. But
that still doesn't
it doesn't really do much compared to
It's his one defensive ability. You also could have argued that...
Let's not talk about how much I screwed up and just talk about the fact that you won.
Yes.
Undefeated!
Kuga's defensive capabilities are just so strong.
Would you have allowed him to use the cans, by the way? From the vending machine?
But the thing is with the cans, you have to be able to find one.
Yeah.
And that's
because they're regular vending machines. They're out all over the place.
But I love this battle. I thought it was a great one. Next time, for you all, we want to do a Super Sentai one. We tend to switch on these.
Yeah, we kind of go back and forth. Should we do another team versus team, a ranger versus a ranger, maybe a mech versus a mech?
Yes.
Which that'd be
maybe we should just do a...
Or we can just follow the rest of the internet and do Voltron versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Zord, because that is a thing on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Moving on.
But this was fun. I enjoy this show. We don't end up doing it that often, but I enjoy it when we do.
I'm being the judge next time.
But please, comment
what fights you want us to see. Comment if you agree or disagree with Marcus's decision. And always like and subscribe.
I agree with it.
We will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I won't be in the middle next time.